Hi, I'm Shia, the editor-in-chief of Platform Magazine, and I'm with Gerald. And Gerald recently really survived a harrowing ordeal in Nablus. Gerald's an old friend of mine, and he had mentioned he was interested in going to Nablus and learning more about the culture in the city. And we had talked about it, and obviously I didn't go. But Gerald, do you want to describe your experience to us?
Thank you for Shaya for having me. It was actually a horrifying experience. I went there with a friend from Germany. We are both tourists. We are not Jewish. So usually it's fine for us to visit Arab towns in Judea and Samaria. But this time it was different than other visits of me before because we had an Israeli car, what we also had in the past when I went to Ramallah or to Hebron or other places. Now in Nablus, when we arrived to the city center, a really big crowd of people, of young men, was there and attacked us, attacked our car, and were really coming for our lives because they were so much full of hate and of anger because we came there with the Israeli plate that is in the Israeli car, that they didn't even listen to us when we tried to explain them that we are tourists and that we are not a target for them. And there were even 3 police officers of the Palestinian Authority police. They understood the situation and they tried to tell them also in Arabic that we are not a target for them, that we are not a goal for them, but they didn't even listen to their own police officers.
Wow, yeah, and it reminds me of course, back in '01, there was a situation in Ramallah where there was a lynching of these 2 guys, and the situation can get very dangerous very quickly if you're in the wrong area in the West Bank. So I'm glad you got it okay. Can you describe to us a little bit about how it felt in that first moment when you realized you were in danger, and when did you sort of come to the conclusion that you felt like there was a chance of you being killed?
Absolutely. So we arrived to the city center, and really from one moment to another, a taxi stopped next to us. It was traffic. We couldn't drive fast there. We could only drive very, very slowly. So next to us stopped a taxi. 3 young men jumped out and started to yell at us, started to knock on our windows. We tried to explain them that we are tourists, but really from one moment to the other, there were the 3 called their friends, and there were like 10 and then 20 people, and it was absolutely horrifying. They had stones of this size, and they threw everything on us. They came to us, they tried to put us out of the car, even that they luckily didn't succeed. They even had a knife with which they threatened my friend. And if I would not have managed to drive away in this situation quickly, I'm not sure what would have happened.
Right, right. And it sounds like a very dangerous situation. And in the aftermath, we've been discussing some of the criticism and the feedback that you've been receiving. In particular, I noticed a lot of online fabrications going on, misinformation. And you mentioned to me how much people were trying to take things out of context and make you into something that you're not, which is essentially a member of M-Tier 2. Having known Gerald from my end, I know he's been friends with members of M-Tier 2, but as far as any membership, I was not aware of. And Gerald is, as well. He is a good friend of mine. He visits Israel quite often. He enjoys being here. It's true, but that doesn't mean that he's still not a tourist. And they didn't even know his political affiliations when they attacked him in the car. They didn't know if he was a left-wing German or a right-wing German. And the fact remains that they just saw him and attacked. He had a bumper sticker with an Israeli rental car. He was not Israeli. He's not even Jewish. He supports Jewish people in fighting anti-Semitism, but doesn't mean that he hates Palestinians. He's been to Palestinian cities many times, has had friendships and discussions that he always tells me about. So in that sense, I think people have very much blown you out of context into being one way or another.
Exactly, it was definitely shocking for me as well that one day after the attack there were so many harassing comments on Twitter and in other social media blaming me for my past experience and activities in Israel, and claiming that I went there only for provocation, which is a lie. I visited very often Palestinian towns because I want to get to know those places. I have Palestinian friends and I have Arab Israeli friends, and usually it's not a problem to go inside those places with an Israeli car. It was very clear that it is a rental car, that we are tourists. My friend who was there with me, he has left-wing political views. I have more liberal conservative views, but this was not the point at all in the situation. No one of the attackers asked for our political views or even guessed about this. Was not a topic at all.
Right.
So it is just unbelievable how people in this situation and didn't even speak to me or to my friend, and instead writing those harassing comments online.
Of all the comments that you saw, which one really stands out to you as the most inaccurate portrayal of who you are as a person?
I think the most inaccurate is, on the one hand, that we were there to wave an Israeli flag, which is basically a lie. No one of us stood up in Nablus on the street waving an Israeli flag. We didn't even have an Israeli flag with us. There was a very, very small sign of the Israeli flag on the car from the rental company, part of the logo of the car. But we would never go with an Israeli flag to this area where we are not suicidal so far. And it's just unbelievable, and I was really in shock. But on the other hand, I'm really thankful, first of all, to the Palestinian who brought us out of this situation.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit more about this unsung hero? Maybe perhaps without giving too much details away that might
for sure
him getting in trouble. But let's just talk about who, at least from a first name. How did he help you? What was the situation when you decided to ditch the car? Why did you ditch the car and flee on foot? And I would also like to unpack a little bit about the fellow himself and what he said to you later about his motivations for doing it.
Yes, definitely. So we noticed another car with an Israeli license plate. Basically, in those areas, there are many internationals probably won't guess it, but there are a lot of cars with the yellow Israeli license plate because many tourists go there, as well as many Arab Israeli who have family there, who go there for shopping, for pleasure on the weekend. And we noticed shortly after the attack, where we were full of stress and just going away from the scene, and the crowd was even coming after us, running behind us, going in taxis after us. We noticed a car that was waiting for us and that gave us signs that he wanted to help us. So we followed him, and actually he led us through smaller streets away from the main road towards the exit of the town. And after a while, our car didn't go anymore because it was too much damaged and some of the wheels were stabbed. So I stopped in the side of the road, and actually he stopped as well, and he took us inside his own car and brought us to the Israeli military. And I'm really, me and my friend were both really grateful to him. He basically risked his life for us, because inside the Palestinian community, it's a traitor what he did. And later,
how far was the crowd behind you?
When we changed the cars, it was maybe, I don't know, it was behind the corner. In this situation, we didn't see the crowd in the moment that we changed the cars. But before, it was maybe 20-30 meters behind us.
Wow.
They were really coming after us, and it was a really shocking situation. And I met him, the guy who helped us. I met him also after the attack. Again, we exchanged phone numbers, and he told me later that first, when he came behind and he saw this mob attacking us, he thought that we are Jewish. He thought that we are Israeli Jewish who somehow got in the wrong direction, and that for him, from the bottom of his heart, he couldn't do something else than to help us, because he didn't want a murder to happen in the street.
Wow.
And this really, really touched me and moved me. And also I'm grateful to the German embassy that they contacted us very shortly after the attack on the same day, and also they called the Palestinian who helped us and thanked him for his support. And actually he does live in Israel.
Right, right. Thank you for sharing your story here, Gerald. And I'm glad that you're safe and back here with us, and the situation is resolved.
Thank you so much.